Morning. Are you doing your morning well this morning? How are you feeling? Have you followed your habits really well for the last few days? Are your routines in really good places? Or do you struggle with them sometimes? Now, either way, what I'd like to do this morning is to help you with kind of a four-step system, and this is just kind of to understand how habits are created, how they work, and they're not going to give you probably a crazy amount of help today to create a habit, but they're going to get you thinking, and in the next few days I'm going to be filling these out a little bit more, okay? So there's kind of a four-step process that it's a feedback loop. It's a loop that happens in our brains all the time with everything, with good habits, with bad habits, doesn't matter. It already happens in our brains. What I'm going to do is break it apart to show you how it actually works, okay? And this is what it is. Number one is cue. Number two is cravings. Number three is basically the response to the cravings, and the last is a reward to set the loop up again. Okay, so that's the way it works. This is the way your brain is already working. I'm just going to break it down a little bit. So the cue is you can tie anything. Sometimes, often in psychology or in coaching, we call these anchors. So you can have an anchor where you do a certain thing, or you hear a certain thing, or something else happens, and as soon as that happens, you immediately start responding. Okay? Because something starts happening in your brain. And this is the way it works. You set up it. So the greatest example is Pavlov's dogs, right? There was a bell rung, and when the bell rang, because it rang every time somebody brought food or before somebody brought food, they started ringing the bell, and the dogs would salivate even though there was no food. Okay? They didn't have to bring food anymore, but they would salivate. So they're getting a response. So that's the cue. And there's so many ways to do this. I'm going to give you a lot of help with this, all right? The first thing is cue. The next thing is to have the craving. There needs to be some kind of craving. If you don't have a craving for something, you're not going to have a really good habit. Now again, I'm going to give you tips on this. I'm going to give you help with this, okay? But there has to be some kind of craving, this desire for something. And number three, there's a response. There needs to be a response to that craving, okay? So with those dogs, maybe there's a salivation response is based on, oh, I want food. I'm all of a sudden thinking about food. Okay, so that's as simple as it can be. And this all happens within an instant, by the way. This happens without you thinking about it consciously. It happens instantly. When you understand it, you can actually break it down and then create the habits you want. The last thing is a reward. The reward does a couple of things. It satisfies that craving that you set up through the cue. So you set up the craving through the cue, you had the response to chase after something, to take some action on something, now you've got the reward. The reward satisfies. But it also starts the loop again, because it says, oh, this was good, I want to do this again. That's it. Those are the four basics of creating habit. There are a lot of good books about this. Maybe ask me sometime and I'll give you a couple of titles for this. For today, all I want you to do is think about, why is it that I do what I do? And you don't have to go too deep into this, but ask yourself, why is it that I do what I do? Both the things that I want to do and things that I don't want to do. There's still some reward there. There's still some craving there. There's still a cue. There's still a response. All four of those things are there. Okay, so these are the four again. Cue, craving, response, and reward. And over the next 4 days, I'm going to get into them far deeper so you can get far more out of this.